So now we're going to start on our project, coloring our color wheel with the hues, the exact hues I just showed you in the previous video. And then we're also going to add tints and shades. So since I don't have that much space around the edge, I decided to make my shades on the edge and my lighter colors in the middle. So here we go. I'm going to first start with yellow because yellow is the most forgiving to work with and is the easiest, so I'll look good right away. So I'll go yellow to yellow-orange, and I can complete my color wheel as we did in the color mixing videos with just the pure hues. Or if I have the yellow out, I could use the white and I could go to the light color, and I could use the black and go to the dark color. So I could go do my hue and then the monochromatic colors, the shades and tints, or I could just go around the wheel first. It doesn't really matter what you do. There's many ways to get to an end. As long as you understand what you're doing, you can choose how you like to do it. So first I'm going to use the plain yellow. Now I do notice that this yellow, it seems kind of weak and transparent, so I'm just going to do a little secret trick and just take a tiny bit of white and mix it in. And I think that's going to make it easier for me to work with. So where's my eraser? The yellow is also going to be see-through, and since it's a light color and I like the light colors, I'm going to want a lot of it. So I'm going to erase some of those underlying guidelines. And there is going to be my yellow. Also, if I put that little bit of white in it, opaque means you can't see through, so then I won't see the guidelines as much. Sometimes I'm going to need 2 coats. There's no doubt about it. It's just the way it is. So there's my pure yellow. Perfect. Okay. So as I said, I could add the black here and go darker and add the white and go lighter, but I'll just stick with going straight to my yellow-orange. Now I have to decide. I think I'm going to use a classic orange and go with the warm red, that red over there. So I'm just going to wipe my brush. I don't want too much water in it for my orange. And I'm just going to poke, just a tiny poke in it, see that much? And put it into my yellow over here. So because I'm making yellow-orange. Yellow-orange. I want to stay away from that little bit of green over there. So I'm making yellow-orange. And now I brought out a new color wheel too, besides this one. I have this bigger color wheel which I like to look at. So, and I cut a bunch of strips. You should always do this when you want to decide if it's the color. So here, there's my color that I just made. And I'll use this big color wheel. And it's pretty close to yellow-orange. Do you see that? Pretty close to yellow-orange. So that's what I'm going to do over there. Take that over there. So there's my yellow-orange. But I don't like how it's so transparent, so I'm putting a little bit of white in it, just a touch. Not so that you know anything. Whoops, now I need more yellow. Am I still on yellow-orange? What did I do? I made it a little darker. That's, okay, that is still yellow-orange. All right, there's my yellow-orange. Okay, and I don't worry about painting in the lines. I just sort of like to make it look like I meant it. But one thing you can do if you're worried is you can always turn your paper, and you can only control one side of your brush at a time. So if you see, use the edge of the brush to watch the line. It doesn't matter what goes there. And so I can do the other sides first. And I'm just going to go right over that one. I'm not going to worry about it. And then in the middle, I can be very free. And it looks to me like I might have to paint this over again because this is still too transparent, which means I can see some of the lines beneath it. Okay. Try to get a nice smooth finish on it. You want your paint to be kind of like creamy, just like a heavy milk, but you don't want it to be chunky, and you don't want to leave texture, especially in the first layers of a painting. So does that look like yellow and yellow-orange? I feel like that looks too orange. I feel I'm wrong, I'm sorry, so I'm going to go over it with more yellow and see what happens. Yep, right over it. I felt that that was too orange, so I'm making a correction. Art is just a continual process of adjustments and corrections. It's not a mistake, it's just a correction. I want it even yellower. I must have added too much red. So there we go, there's my yellow. And at this point, I'm mixing it into the wet color over there to be my yellow-orange. Okay. Let's see, is that yellow-orange now? You see how much harder it is to go from dark to light. So. Now I think I will probably, when that dries, go back into it and make it even lighter. But for now, I'll go to the orange and make my orange right there. That red is so strong compared to the yellow. It's crazy. So that's just back to square one, I believe. There's my orange. I really have to fix this yellow-orange. So this one can take a little bit more red into it because it is orange. There we go. That's better. That's more like an orange. But it's so much easier to get darker than lighter. If I have a lot of trouble, the only thing I would have be able to do would be to paint over it with white and then go over it again. But you can still see that it is orange, yellow-orange. I put a little bit more red in it, make it a little orangier. When it's wet, you can mix it pretty well. Still on orange. Okay, now I'm going to red-orange. How's that? That's pretty good. So there's my red-orange. There, I did the almost complete. Now let's go straight red. Make sure you keep on drying your brush, otherwise it will be too watery. Straight red. And this really does look like red, whereas the magenta, not so much. The type of paint we're using is called tempera paint, and if we re-wet it, it will become soluble again, so you have to be careful not to soak it or make it too wet because the colors will run and again be mixable. Unlike acrylic paint, which once it dries, that's it. But this is easier to work with in the beginning. Okay. This actually needs a little bit of water. This red is a little dry. Okay, so we have our full yellow-red. So we have our primary colors. Our two primary colors are yellow and red. Our secondary is orange, and then the tertiary are in between, red-orange and yellow-orange. So there you have it. Okay, now we'll go to the yellow-greens. So, you know what, while I'm here, I'm just going to go over that yellow one more time to make it even brighter. Make sure my brush is clean, otherwise that will be very bad. So, You need a few coats of yellow to be good. Okay, and let's go over the yellow-orange one more time. Wow. That just doesn't even want to lighten up at all. Okay. All right. Yellow to, I'm going to, I don't want any orange in my green, so I'm going to put the yellow on this side. And which blue should I use? Let's see. Should I use warm blue or cool blue? Warm blue or cool blue? Cool blue. I think I'm going to use the warm blue, the turquoise. So over here, I'm going to put the blue. I'm going to need more room for my blue-green, so I'm going to leave it like that. Put the blue. I wouldn't call this a turquoise if I had to call it a color. I might call it, I don't know, peacock blue. What would you call it? But that's why I'll introduce you to you later. When artists use color systems, when they choose colors to put on their product, if they're designing something, they never use a name, because a name is just subjective. It could mean anything. Let's switch waters. And they would have to identify the blue by a number or a formula. So now I'll take the yellow and I'm going to mix, I'll mix it over here, yellow. That's going to be my pile to mix into with just a tip, just a tiny bit of blue. Should make me a yellow-green. How am I doing with my yellow-green? I think that's good, perfect. So yellow-green goes here. Again, I might need to go over it a few times because it seems quite transparent to me. I don't like the transparency. So just wait till it dries and go over it. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit more to make it green. Good enough. Green. Notice I'm running out of paint here. It's very dry. I tend to not put enough on when I do this. Now I have to make the blue-green. So what do we need? We need a little bit more blue. You notice a difference? Is it blue-green yet? It's more like it should have been for the green. I'm going to go back over it for the green. I think that was a true green. Now, I think with this blue, it's hard to make the blue-green. So I need a lot more blue here. Yep, there it is. There's my blue-green. Great. That didn't take that long after all. That will need another coat. Okay, now is a tough one. We're going to reds. I'm getting new water. Okay. So what do we want to use? I personally, I think I want to use